Welcome back to Classic Firearms. I'm Brandon, and this is the Ruger EC9S. It's a 9mm pistol from Ruger, so let's go ahead and dive into it. Now, I do notice they actually give you a little bit of a congratulations note, so they give you a written letter in the box. Anyway, moving on. We're gonna start off with tech specs and then go tip to button, explain exactly what the pistol has to offer. After that, we're gonna verify some of those tech specs and then I'll close out the video. So without further ado, let's dive into the tech specs. On this particular pistol, of course, this is chambered in 9mm. You have a 7+1 capacity, a 3.12-inch barrel, so compact size. That barrel is made out of steel, of course. And the pistol comes in at 17.2 ounces. Not to mention, it is 0.9 inches thick, so very thin overall, and hopefully I'll have a better B-roll shot for you of that. Your overall length is going to be 6 inches, and your overall height is going to be 4.5 inches, and that goes from tip to top. Twist weight, in case you're interested in that, is 1 in 10, all for under $400. And according to their website, it's a limited availability. However, let's go ahead and do tip to butt. What are we looking at here? The first thing I notice is that you get a nice matte black finish on the slide, while the barrel does have a nice glossy black finish. A little bit of contrast there is always a good thing. You do have two blacked out rear and front sights, so both of them are blacked out. Not that you have two separate sights or anything like that, but both of them are blacked out. They are thin and kind of narrow, which does help for a CCW kind of gun. Angle you up into the actual sights, which is a lot of people do like. Now, that's a personal preference thing. You do also have rear slide serrations, so depending on how you want to actually grip it and rip it, you can do it however you want. You can also pinch from the front, but there's not any slide serrations up there. But the matte finish and the text being up there does offer you some grip, which is always a nice thing to see. Now, as we fall on down to the polymer portion of the pistol, say that 3 times fast. Polymer portion of the pistol, polymer portion of the pistol, polymer portion of the pistol. You do have a trigger with the trigger safety built in. So kind of like you would see on Glocks, it does have a trigger safety portion that you have to depress before you can start pulling the trigger. We'll actually give you a demonstration of that in just a second. I want to move on back to the grip, and the mag release is on that left side. That mag release is not stuck out all that far, which is good. This is a concealed carry pistol, so you don't want it to be sticking out overly far and accidentally drop that mag whenever you present out. That can be not only embarrassing, but cost you your life if you're actually in a self-defense situation. You do have a nice, moderately aggressive polymer grip here on the sides and on the front. And you do also get that same on the back, while you also get that Ruger logo with a little bit of a smoother, more like a matte finish up top here where your hand would go. So very comfortable to hold overall. Now, with the mag, it is 7+1 capacity, like we mentioned. It does have a little bit of an extra portion here for your pinky. So me, I don't have the biggest hands in the world. You can ask Kaya, he talks about it all the time. You do have that mag, which will help you with that grip on there. Without that, your pinky would be floating in space a little bit free. So it is nice that they do add that on there so you can get a really good purchase on the firearm. Now, let's go ahead and talk about that trigger, because it does feel pretty good. The first thing I want to point out about the trigger, and this gun is clear, we always clear every gun before we ever start a video, is it does have a mag safety in it. So if your state requires that to be compliant, this does have that. And again, below 10 rounds capacity. So it is very state compliant in a lot of harsher places that may have those rules. So you cannot actually pull that trigger, and I don't want to break it, so I won't pull any harder. But as soon as you get that mag in there, it starts to depress a little bit more, which is nice. Now, you do have a little bit of take up here, which is very smooth, and then you actually go back a little bit farther, also smooth, and then you pull through, you hit a very distinct wall. So a lot of take up here, but a very distinct wall. Some people love that for concealed carry. Now, you pull through that, and bang. So there's a little bit of pull past that actual wall. We'll go ahead and get that reset set up for you. And a little bit of movement, a little bit of movement. Back out. Now, okay, there it is. A very soft reset, and then bang yet again. So that trigger does have a lot of movement in it, which a lot of people do prefer for concealed carry. It all depends on your personal preference. Now, one thing I also noticed is that there is a safety. So you actually have a left side only safety on this one. So if you want to conceal carry it, that safety won't allow you to pull that trigger at all, and then you remove it down, and now it can go bang. So for the people who want a safety on their concealed carry, this definitely does that. There's multiple applications of safety here, which is a good thing. You also have your slide release right here on the left-hand side. So now let's move on to the verification portion of this video. First things first, let's go ahead and get the measurements out of the way. Usually I start with trigger pull, but today we're gonna go a little bit differently. turn it this way so you can see it. Now you guys will be able to see this before I do. I'm just gonna work on lining it up. Try not to point the gun at my arm. There you go. So you're looking at right at that 6-inch mark. So their website claims perfectly aligned. So they said 6 inches on the website, that's what I'm getting here. Now as far as height goes, they say 4.50. Getting like more like 4.75. So a little bit taller than they may be alluding to, but it depends on kind of where you start on this portion right down here. So I guess that's more up to subject than anything else. However, I'm gonna go with 4.75. Now, let's go ahead and weigh that trigger pull. Let me grab that, it's right over here. Bada bing, bada boom. Power that on. And we're going to point it this way. I'm going to press it onto the table. Actually, let's do it this way. I can't do it without the mag. I want it to set flat. So I'm going to hold it onto the table to the best of my ability. It's a small pistol, so it's hard to lock down. I don't have a clamp or anything, so we're just gonna do this to the best of our abilities here. So we're gonna do this in 3, 2. Pistol did move a little bit, but I got about 5.26 pounds. Now that is pretty close to what I felt. It was not a super heavy trigger pull, but that also does fit with your kind of concealed carry that people would normally do. Press down on the pistol with my left hand hard. 5.60. So that's pretty close to what you would expect for some sort of duty or concealed carry gun that you may have right around. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the scale. We'll put it on the table and I'll be right back. All right, scale is on the table. Now you can see, I can't right away, so you'll actually see before I do, what the, that's always fun, what the exact weight is. So you should be seeing it now, 0.98 it looks like, so that's what, right around 15 ounces? My guess is we're gonna get just a little bit over a pound here. A pretty easy guess. 111, so you're getting 1.11 pounds, which is not all that heavy. This is pretty light, it's very thin, and comes in at a very good value. The trigger pull feels great and has a few extra safety features that you may be looking for depending on if your state requires it or not. So all that to say, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. So I hope that if you guys have any experiences with the Ruger EC9S, please leave a review down below. I know I will definitely be down there trying to answer as many of those questions as possible. I may have to research them depending on what you ask. Sometimes I don't actually know the questions, but that's okay. That's why we have people and friends to ask and or Google, but you gotta verify those. Anyway, moving on, that's all I have for you today. So God bless, stay safe. It is time to end. Now, I'm gonna go see how this thing shoots.